Hey
Hi.
everybody. Hey Manu, how you doing?
Good, how are
It's
you, man?
Manu Intiraymi here with me, guys. You probably recognize him. He is Icheb on Voyager. He's also in Renegades. Used to be Star Trek Renegades. He's in Fifth Passenger, which is now in post, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's also the man behind The Circuit, a very big anthology project. Which, if you want to see that, you can check in the description. We'll have a link to that interview right there. But for now, we are going to talk about Renegades, formerly Star Trek Renegades. Now, Manu, your character, of course, in the pilot was Icheb,
Uh-huh.
but that's changed. Now his name is
Jarin.
Jarin. And is Jarin, he was a Borg, so what is Jiren now? How has these guidelines changed how Jiren is?
Well, we don't talk a whole lot about what Jarin is. Actually, we don't talk about it at all in the second episode. Jarin is no longer a Borg because we can't say Borg, but we know that Jarin is some sort of a cyborg,
Yeah,
some sort of a half robot, half humanoid, weaponized. The same thing in the first one. He's a weaponized killing machine, basically.
mm,
He looks a little different in the new one. I don't know if you've seen any images, if they put up any, but he no longer has the Star Trek insignia, typical Borg thing over his eye like Seven of Nine and Icheb had.
right.
I believe it's on this side, I want to say. No, there's sort of this new little piece of wiry technology that you can see that's coming through his skin
Uh-huh.
over by my ear. And otherwise, his hair is slicked back, and it's the same outfit as the first Renegade. Got the fedora, the long, dusty fedora, and the intergalactic stomping boots.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like Jarin then is like pretty much open to having a backstory written for him now, huh? I mean,
Yeah,
we
we
get a
have.
lot of character development with him now.
Honestly, the new Renegades is a great script. I thought the script was fantastic, and the actors and the shoot all went really, really well. And we shot quick, we shot well. The footage that I've seen from the media that I've seen from it is, I think this time around they were really good, and they were able to streamline what they were doing, and the actors had sort of from a year off with the other Renegades or more were able to sink in and sink their teeth into to playing their roles better. Robert Beltran came on and he was really good. Terry Farrell was really good. Walter gave a great performance, and Jarin isn't in the movie a whole lot, but his scenes are powerful scenes and fun scenes to watch. So, great moments.
Mm-hmm.
It was a joy to play the intense scenes that he was involved in.
Yeah, naming off the other actors, such seems like it'd be such a shake-up when you had like Terry Farrell, who's going to be back as Jadzia, who everyone was like, how is this going to work? And Robert Beltran back as Chakotay and all this, but now with the guidelines, who everybody was, they're not anymore. That's had to change.
Yeah, I forget what Jad's name changed to. It might just be Jad. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I forget what her name was because I only had one scene with her when I walk on the bridge. We didn't have scenes together, dialogue scenes. Just we were we're in the same scene for a while, but we don't speak. So I talked to her, and she told me, but I forgot what the name turned to.
I can't remember either because it's a lot of new names to remember, really.
Yeah.
So, like, these kind of changes, like, how did you feel it affecting Requiem? Because you started off as going to be another Star Trek Renegades episode and then had to change up when the guidelines came out.
I actually don't think it affected it in any negative way. I think, if anything, it freed us up because we can now, if Sky decides to continue to try to fund this thing and continue to try to make it a series, he's free to go in any direction that he wants, and he's free to make money off of it now. Mm-hmm. So it's not a Star Trek series anymore. I think it's sort of exciting that Renegades has a chance to be a series. If it was still Star Trek, it would be dead in the water, and there would be no opportunity in the future. I know Sky really wants to to launch a TV series for real, to put the money into, getting it out on network TV or doing a launch even on Amazon or Netflix or somebody like that picked it up. The typical amount of money it costs to do all the advertising, the billboards, to get people to try to watch is somewhere between $20 and $30 million. So that's just the average, new show price of trying to get people to catch on to something new. But I don't think it's necessarily impossible that he finds a network to do that for him, especially if this new episode is as good as I think it could be.
So it sounds like people would be able to just look at this when you go and see Requiem for the first time, step into it expecting a whole new experience. Don't expect that this is going to be continuing Star Trek Renegades with just some band-aids or something over. This has been fully reworked to go on now as its own series, completely free of the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, it certainly still has a Trek feel. I mean, the kind of show. Mm-hmm. It certainly still has that feeling of. We don't call Starfleet anymore, but it's still a crew on a ship, and it's it was inspired by the Star Trek universe, so it'll always have that feel. I think. I don't think it'll change so drastically that we don't somehow in the back of our hearts think of it as a Star Trek story. But certainly all the names and places have been changed. And what's neat about it, and the reason that with all the, I can't believe I'm about to say this word, but with all the hullabaloo that was surrounding the Trek fan film scene at the time, I was really paranoid and sort of scared about whether I should do the film or not, whether Paramount was going to blacklist me or whether we were going to get, attacked by Paramount. But then I saw that interview where that Paramount exec, what's his name, Van Zitters, or what's his name? You know his name?
Which?
Something Van Zitters or anyway, one of the Paramount execs, is in charge of things, basically gave us a pass and said, "We're happy that they're taking Trek off of the title, and we're happy to let them continue as they are." And as soon as I read that, I said, "Okay, I'll do this." And also, I really wanted to be a part of it because it was in certain. It was definitely without saying his name, he's now called the Admiral. It was a Admiral story, who used to be Chekhov. So it was definitely his story, and I wanted to be a part of, if that was going to be his final Star Trek movie, I wanted to be there for every second that I could. I'm a big fan of Walter Koenig. I like him as a man and as a person, and I just love him, so I wanted to be involved in that movie, and that's what made the decision for me.
Yeah, I found that, speaking of really striking, in that we knew that as Requiem had started out before, Walter Koenig had said it was just going to be his last portrayal of Chekhov. But now that's kind of been it's like now Renegades, the pilot, was his last. Is that true? That was his last Chekhov performance now that we could expect?
Yeah, I think in people's hearts that his last Chekhov performance will still be this film. The new one. But it's, we call him Admiral, but it's still a story about a character very, very like Chekhov. It's just that the name has been changed, but the story was written for Chekhov. So when we Trekked it, we did everything we could not to break their rules, and I think we didn't. So I think in people's hearts they can still look at it as his final performance check off, even though it isn't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that. Like we said, those guidelines just came at such a terrible time.
Yeah, it's a great story for him, though. People will really enjoy it, I think. As long as they take the time to get the visual effects good, and everything we shot looks really good. So and the script was great. It was really well written. So I think this time people will enjoy it much more than the first.
Wow. The first one's done really well. It's got over 2 million views on YouTube so far. So.
This one is just more intelligent, more cohesive. There's not as many holes in the story. There's not a big bad guy alien. A lot of sci-fi things do that. And I felt like the first Renegades, we had that big vicious bad guy who was fun. Nothing wrong with that. But this one's just a little more clever and well constructed. Rose Tale and a pilot that set up, who these new characters are. And this one is a story about, particularly, one man's final journey. And it's a good story.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. And I believe I heard that could be out, because it's going to be a two-parter. Could be out December or January.
Yeah, that makes sense. Seems like would be about the time it would take. People don't realize, some people do, but when you're doing sci-fi on a low budget, it takes a really long time to get visual effects in, because you have people often that are visual effects talents that are working on bigger films, and they've put their time and energy into giving you visual effects of that quality, but they have to do it in their off time. And so, because they're getting paid big money to do other visual effects, so you have to wait quite a while to. That's sort of what holds things up, is waiting on all the visual effects to get finished and finished well.
It may be a little early to ask, but is there any plans already thinking of doing episode 3 and beyond, or is it going to be like, see how the response to Requiem goes and take it from there?
I don't know the answer to the question because I'm not producing Renegades, but I would assume that and from what I've heard, Sky wants to keep going and wants to do a third episode and possibly make a series out of it if you can find people to finance it. So I think he has plans for a future, and I hope Jarin gets to be a part of the show, and I hope the show gets a bigger budget than it's had and can blossom into something really, really beautiful, because it's there. From Gods and Men, his first project, to Renegades was quite a leap in quality of product, and then I think the new one's going to be another jump in quality of filmmaking. He's definitely learning his game, and it's going to be exciting to see what's next.
Yeah, and that's Trek Universe now. Fan funding is available as a route to try and find some finances. As to now, if you're a Star Trek fan film production, that's out. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, but it's that's what's also great about being freed up and not being a Star Trek film, is we can continue to tell original cool stories that aren't the Star Trek universe, but it's got a similar feel. And he has a chance to make a new series now. I'm excited about it, and I also, the people have supported it in a strong way, and they've got a lot of support from the fan base. They had a great campaign for their second episode, and I'm sure after people watch the second episode, I don't see why they wouldn't want to keep funding it if that's the route he had to go. The fans love it, and they've continually supported it. And hopefully some of those fans will bleed over and support my project to the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's plug that again. That was called what?
The Circuit.
The Circuit.
I'm doing now, and about half of the cast of Renegades is in it, and a lot of the crew are also on the team. So The circuit is a blending of crew from Renegades, crew from Fifth Passenger, and crew from For the Love of Spock, and then also crew from big budget films like Spider-Man 2 and Iron Man and Planes, and a bunch of What Dreams May Come and Red Tails and Beowulf, and a bunch of big budget folks have come on board to help us with the circuit as well. And it's a sci-fi, fantasy, horror genre film. It's multi-anthology. People can go check it out at thecircuitfilm.com. And if you do pledge, you can also be a part of the movie and come join us on set without pledging much more than $5. You can just go and go to thecircuitfilm.com and write us and tell us how you want to join the team. And for the first time in history, we're offering a bunch of fans to come onto the set and help us with the talents that they have, but also learn what it's like to work on a big budget film in a key department. And we're going to bring on a bunch of fans to help make the circuit.
No, it sounds really great. It's an exciting project. And what were those websites again for people?
Thecircuitfilm.com. You can also see us on social media at The Circuit Movie, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can go support the circuit on Kickstarter. If you just go to Kickstarter and just search The Circuit, you'll see us. We'll pop right up.
All right, well, Manu, man, nice talking again. It's been a scoop of a weekend for me. Got to hang out for a few hours on Sunday, and then a couple nice interviews today. Got to know you a bit. It's been really great. Really appreciate your time.
Nice meeting you too, man, and thanks for your help, and thanks for staying interested in crowdfunding and in sci-fi and all the things we're doing. I appreciate you guys, and everybody in your club too. Hello to everybody. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, and next time you're up around this way, let me know, and we'll do something like catch a beer